Welcome back, everyone. Dirch here, and I've got a kind of a Borderlands 3 round table. This is something I've been planning on doing for a long time, but then I disappear for long times without a reason. Um, and then I came back, and some people hit me up on it. And with Borderlands 3 and the trailer coming out, it seemed like a perfect time to get back to this idea of pulling together some members from the community that voices you may not hear, but you've probably read or talked to or communicated with. So without further ado, I've got Psychichazard here, who's a moderator in the forums and has been since the dawn of time. You
Just
guys
about.
probably all know him. He's probably banned you.
Yep, my job. Hi, everybody. Glad to
We
be here.
we've got Wingsday. So I don't know what to say about you, Wingsday. You're a member of the community. You've been around for a long time. You've been in the forums. You're in Discord. I mean, I think a lot of people know
Let's,
you.
let's just call him a badass. He's a badass.
For sure.
You
Something
don't
like
do you
that.
stream or anything?
Um, I've been thinking about doing it, but I have never really gotten around to it.
All right, because I know like you're in Twitch chats and stuff too, right?
Yeah, I've been in watching some streams in the past. Yeah.
All right, and then we have Zsoki, who both streams and does some YouTube and is active members of pretty much all the communities.
Yep. Hello.
And then we have Abvex, who is just the scrub here, who just plays Evolve.
Yeah,
But
you'll get big one day. You'll see.
who one of the founders of the Cult of the Becca.
Yeah.
Also,
Hello,
active in the
everybody.
forums and Discord and all over the place. So we wanted to go around and talk about some topics, probably primarily related to Borderlands 3, but we might dive into the other ones. So the first list we have here, first item on the list, are what are some of the most desired things that should be in Borderlands 3 for you guys? I don't know if we
Everything.
just everything.
Everything I can think of. I just think they should toe the line between adding enough to make it different without changing it too much. So I read somewhere that they were going to have like weapons parts being lootable. That could be a fine line. That could be something that either makes it or breaks it. Hang on, I'm just going to put my monocle in. Yeah, so if I was to look at that very closely, they'd have to get it just right. And I don't know what that means, but just right is just right.
So in the trailer, we saw guns dropping, not parts dropping, but there are some rumors that you can customize parts on guns, and some of these rumors that the character leaks were right and some of that stuff. So that'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
it
I
will. A lot of people have been asking it for ever since Borderlands 1 came out. So, but they've shied away from it, apart from the grinder.
Yeah, which was a
Um,
half measure.
yeah, I kind of think it could go too far because the point where you find your perfect gun, there's nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
The bit where you find your perfect weapon part, okay, nice,
Yeah.
maybe it's not the same.
Maybe if they I don't know. It is a slippery slope because
Yeah,
if you could change some things, like maybe just accessories. So if you find that right grip and barrel and body,
hmm
but then you don't get the right accessory and you can go tweak that. Because some of those guns are, especially like mission reward, like farming for the perfect Sandhawk. Dear God.
yeah,
And that's just no fun.
yeah. But yeah, some of the guns on the footage on the trailer, they're just insane. They're just
Yeah.
I just cannot wait. So yes, they should put guns in. I think
Uh,
that would be good.
how about you, Wingsday? What's the most desirable thing you want to see in the three?
Of a lot of more interesting variation in the non-unique guns. That's one of the things that I thought was a little bit lacking in some weapon categories in the previous game. So I'm really hoping that they push on that and get some really cool non-unique.
Yeah, I saw something that looked a lot like a grenade launcher.
I'm pretty sure grenade launchers are confirmed. I saw a bunch of those. I took the video's not posted yet, but it will be by the time this one is. Me and Damon, we took 174 screenshots of the trailer and broke them down and discussed them. And we definitely saw grenade launchers, some new heavy weapon types that look interesting,
Yeah.
some other kind of launchers, and some new kind of like lasers as well.
Yeah, I saw stuff like that, and it's just like there's just not enough information yet. But my
Yeah,
God,
but there's
my
definitely new interesting guns.
my overall reaction to the whole thing, I was in tears, and I was clapping, and I was weeping, which is not like me. It was just such a sense of relief. I mean, I guess everybody else had similar responses. Maybe not the
Well,
leaking from the eyes.
from my reaction to it was it seems like what their ideal gun part system would be in BL2 if they had no technical limits. So they kind of, from the trailer, it was like a mix of the BL1 system with the parts and also the way how different each manufacturer looked from BL2, and they kind of figured out a way how to make them both work. And I imagine now this time around, every manufacturer might be able to make every weapon, then be limited to 4 different types or something like that. So that seems really very exciting to me. The idea of a Malawan assault rifle, the idea of a dual shotgun coming back. So those are pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure I saw a Torg sniper rifle. So I think that hints
Yeah.
towards that.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice. But yeah, I going back to my overall response. Sorry, I was trying to lead the conversation so that we've got everybody else's overall response. It was such a relief. It's been so long coming, and if they have, like, if Borderlands 1 was the kind of like their first effort, and Borderlands 2 was building on it, if they can build in the same way on 3 that they did on 2, then, and again, like you say, without the technical limitations, there's no reason why this isn't going to be gorgeous. I mean, the characters, I already decided I need a big stompy mech. That's all I need, and I'm happy. I don't care about the gun parts. I don't care about anything else. I get a big stompy mech in Borderlands. That's fine. Sorted. That will do me.
How about you, Zsoki? What's the most desired thing you want in it?
Stories, the information, especially since we're seeing new Sirens in the trailer. I want to see like all 6 confirmed Sirens. I want to know more about the Guardians and the Volts themselves, like just the overall story. I'm really into lore, so
Nice. Yeah, so and we see the new Siren, but what I'm really interested in seeing with the Sirens is you saw how they stripped Lilith's tattoos. So like they
that was,
stole her siren power. That's like what the
That's
fuck?
drama.
But also something a lot of people missed, and Damonite caught this the other day. There's a dead Iridian Guardian in one of the shots. There's like a big, like almost like demon looking thing with like wings.
My
like
monocle just fell out.
and in the bottom left of the screen there looks like an Iridian Guardian laying there dead.
in the very screenshot with Lilith losing her power.
No. Later on, it's when it's going through like some of the enemies you're fighting. There's like this big like winged devil demon looking creature with a bunch of like blue projectiles in the air. If you look at that screen in the bottom left is the dead Iridian Guardian. So we are gonna be interacting with Iridians, and it looks like you're fighting the enemy. So it's like I don't know if you walk into dead Iridians and then you fight the thing, but
so maybe
there's a lot of lore.
Homeworld. Maybe there's a Iridian homeworld, something like that.
Could be.
Maybe.
Yeah, the lore is going to be something that they've kind of been increasing over each game, I think.
Yeah.
and the trailer did look very character heavy, which is good.
Yep, very good. So I'm actually gonna skip next to PH. You already just answered this, but which character are you guys the most excited to play for the new ones? So Wings, where are you at with this?
Oh man, well, I was a pretty big Maya guy for number two, so I have to go with this one.
Yeah. Why are you most excited about that, or just for Siren?
I mean, she also looks really cool,
Yeah.
and especially if they have the sort of
I think you cut out there.
Mm. I was just going to say that the fact that there's two female characters to choose from, that's cool.
Yes.
That's good. That's nice. And female bandits and psychos and stuff. About time. You know.
Are you back, Wings?
yeah. This should be a
Okay,
little
there
bit
you
better,
go.
maybe.
Yep, hear you now.
Um, I forgot what I was saying.
Why you're excited about the Siren?
Oh, yeah, for the siren thing, I think it's pretty interesting, but also I'm also pretty interested in the melee combat and really kept up on the leaks at all, but looks like the kind of character that might be involved in that. So
That's yours. I'm the same way. That Siren has me so excited. I mean, I love Lilith. I love Maya. When I saw those arms pop out with like that shock nova, I'm like, "Yup, that's all me."
yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that they might be using a lot of what they learned in Battleborn in terms of the skill trees.
Yeah.
So some of the really over the top effects they were having there in that game, I hope they're going to be applying that to 3.
Yup. And they did a really good job with melee characters in Battleborn. So, like diverse melee. So that seems interesting.
Yeah.
Zsoki, where are you with this one?
I kind of like all of them. I think all of them have their perspective. I'm actually really interested. The one guy who he projected his image or something.
Zane, the Hyperion
Zane.
operative. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that interests me more because he kind of has like this zero feel. I'm wondering if he's going to be a sniper or if he's going to be melee. But then again, the Siren is also kind of like melee right now.
Yeah.
Seems.
So there's a shot with Zane that I've seen some people notice this, but a lot of people missed it. When you first saw the 4 Vault Hunters in the trailer next to each other, on his left hand, he had like these big ass like Wolverine claws that didn't show up anywhere else. So I think he's got just a bunch of like augmentations with this technology, and he could be like I don't think he'd be pure melee, because I'm pretty sure Amara the Siren's going to be the pure melee, but I bet he's got some pretty good hybrid melee stuff, because he is an assassin.
Yeah, I wonder how much kind of crossover there'll be, or how much kind of shared facility. That's a good phrase. There will be with each character.
Mm-hmm.
Wondering how narrow the paths will be, or whether they'll be kind of.
He would be my
more
pick as
cooperative.
well.
Yeah.
In fact, because my favorite character so far right now, it's probably the sniper. I forgot her name. From
Aurelia.
yeah, her
Yeah.
and handsome Jack, the doppelganger.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like if he's anything the hybrid of those two, done. Like you're finished talking. It's just like perfect.
Like, Moze is the soldier of this game. Usually the soldier's the jack of all trades, but because she's got her big mech, I'm wondering if Zane's more the jack of all trades character.
And I'm wondering about whether there'll be kind of skill trees devoted to co-op as well.
I think we're going to see more of that. They seem to be embracing that more and more every game.
Yeah, if you look at Claptrap and people like that, then
Yeah.
robots like that.
Yeah, because you can ride the robot and...
Yeah, I've got to do that. We've got to have 4. We've got to have 4 soldiers with 4 mechs. And...
He also has the best hair of any character in this trailer.
Yeah, but Amaro's got the best abs. Have you seen those things?
I'm sorry, I forgot about Maya. My bad.
Yeah, Maya's got the best hair in the trailer. Don't be
Nah.
fucking with that.
If I could, I'd play Maya again. I'd still love her new look.
Yeah. Here's what's interesting is like when I've been like looking around the internet and everything, it seems like most people are excited about Flack the Beastmaster, but none of us picked him.
Yeah.
I think it's the fear of Gage happening again. That it's. I'm sure he'll be great. They learned a lot from Gage, but yeah.
I'm a little worried about Mose the mech because we've seen some challenging scaling issues with like pets and stuff, and I think she's gonna be so evolved around the mech that if that thing doesn't scale well, it's gonna kill her. But they also learned their lessons in the pre-sequel pretty well with that, so maybe it's just a concern I shouldn't be worried about anymore.
I mean, I had a similar thing when Borderlands 2. I was convinced that the nuke was going to be amazing on accident, and it looked good, but in actual gameplay, it wasn't that useful compared with the other things you could do with the turrets. So again, hopefully they'll have learned that whatever way you go with it.
They seem to a lot, because like in the pre-sequel, the Digijacks were awesome at Endgame.
Yeah.
Wolf and Saint were really good at Endgame.
Yeah.
So I think they've learned their lessons there.
Yeah, I'm confident. And I don't.
Well, were the pet classes? Because I haven't played a lot of Battleborn. If they were great in Battleborn, then I think they can't do. They.
Yeah, Battleborn didn't really have pet classes so much.
There was Shane
and Aurochs, which it wasn't really pet. Yeah. It was like attached.
I mean, I also read somewhere that the reason why 3 has been delayed so much is them trying to get the artificial intelligence right for the pet class.
Nice.
Which if they're going to delay it, it better be good.
Yep.
I'm sure it will be. I have enormous faith in.
Well, they had that Red Dead time.
The what? Yeah.
The Red Dead time. Because I'm pretty sure that's the real reason it was delayed. And they've got the same publisher, right? Take-Two did Red Dead and Borderlands. Those are two of the biggest games that are going to be coming out in a couple of years. So why would you stack them on top of each other? And then Red Dead got delayed, and Borderlands was going to be after that. So Borderlands had to be delayed with the Red Dead, which just gave Gearbox more time to perfect it.
Yeah, and I think everyone who's been kind of getting annoyed with Gearbox for not releasing it like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but like we saw
that'll be half a game.
Yeah, but like that was the problem with the pre-sequel. The pre-sequel was too quick. It was 90% the same thing as Borderlands 2. All the same guns and same mechanic. And there's some new mechanics, but it was the same base game. Like we need something.
Yeah.
From like 1 to 2, there's that big step. And
also, when you go to a new engine, you're automatically adding more lead to your pre-production and things like that. So it's not like they're still doing it in UE3. Just by switching engine might add it another year because they have to rework it and make it look like.
Yeah, at least.
Which actually kind of leads into the next question: is how close should it stay to the first 3 games?
Well, I think that if they could get it somewhere in terms of mood and lore, somewhere in between 1 and 2, because although 2 was amazing, I did miss the kind of starkness and kind of isolation almost that you found in some areas of Borderlands 1. The fact that it was very gritty. And there was, I think some of Borderlands 2 was too shiny for me. I really like the gritty post-apocalypse kind of wasteland stuff. I can see why they did it, and certainly we've already seen some areas in the trailer that look very like Malawan factories or Malawan Homeworld or whatever that seem very shiny, but the mood of it feels a bit more like something a little bit darker, and maybe whilst the comedy is very, very good and I do enjoy it, I think something grittier than 2 would just rock for me.
All right. How about you, Wings?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree for the most part. I think there was a lot of a confluence of a lot of factors that made sort of I don't know, sort of like bubbly kind of thing work out really well for them there. And I don't know necessarily all those factors are in play at this point.
It looks darker.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard some people commenting on the trailer that they're like, "This is Borderlands. It's supposed to be funny. The trailer is all dark." And I'm like, "You had a running gun and Brick playing the sax. They haven't abandoned the jokes." But yeah, it's probably a grittier story. Maybe this is their empire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, with like the Lilith stuff and all that. I mean, it seems like we're gonna deal with some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be like when we see, because they've established the characters in 1 and 2. I'm fairly certain horrible things are going to happen to them.
There's a really big roster now.
Yeah.
An awful lot of people.
Yeah.
They do have to let some voice actor go. It's getting crowded. So.
And they've already let a few go.
Yeah,
They replaced one and let the other one die off, but
yeah, someone's going to pull a short straw.
Who is the writer currently? Because I know Anthony Birch he's gone.
no, yeah, it's not Birch. I forgot who the head writer is on this.
I don't remember.
I read it at some point, but I do not recall. Is
Mikey still involved in some capacity?
So Mikey is completely Mikey's completely retired from Gearbox. He's I think the stress of the video game world was too much on him with his health issues. So he's just doing his Film Joy YouTube channel, which is incredible. So anybody listening, if you have not checked out Film Joy, which is Mikey Newman's stuff, it is excellent. He just did a Baby Driver the other day. So good.
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
Yeah, check out Film Joy, and just keep supporting Mikey because Mikey's amazing. I mean, we wouldn't have Borderlands without him.
I thought he was involved in the early stages.
He might have been. Yeah, he was still around in the early stages, so he's probably helped kick it off with a lot of that.
Although, in the remaster of 1, we're getting a different ending in terms of the Destroyer having some loot, apparently.
I'm excited about that, yeah.
Yeah. And they said they're changing the fight around, too, a little bit to make it more challenging.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're changing the story or just changing the fight so the fight is better with loot.
Yeah, I think they'll change the fight to something that may be more in line with the bosses in 2.
Yeah, because the story never alluded to how specific it's like, oh, there's a vault. It never... That fight was always a surprise to me. Like, you never saw it coming. So they have flexibility to change that to whatever they wanted.
Well, now they have the money to. That was the thing of that. I read it somewhere that with Borderlands 1, they just flat out ran out of money. Like, and it was... They couldn't spend more time on that. So they spent a bunch of money on like the beginning of the game, and they kind of rushed the end of it, which showed.
Yeah. But considering all that, what a game.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, the last minute changes with the art. I mean, yeah, Borderlands 1, it's a miracle of modern gaming that happened. It was so successful and launched what it did, because new IPs really struggle in the video game industry. Like, you get some indie darlings and stuff, but like a big AAA brand new franchise, I mean, everything is just sequels. It's really hard to like break through with a new, I guess
even
Overwatch
the look was risky.
Yeah, there's so many risks with it, and it created a new genre. It had a new look that was risky but right, and so much. Yeah. Oh, Zsoki, I think we skipped over you with this one.
So talking about how close it should stay to first. I mean, the overall kind of theme, which they're gonna always say true to being, it's like so many guns, so many parts. That's what they love about this game, and it's a first person. Mm-hmm. I'm always forgetting which one's like third person or first person. I've been playing so many games lately. Um, but like when playing Borderlands 1, that back then like it was a simple game. There was a lot of changes that were recommended, and then Borderlands 2 came out, and they actually listened to us. That's what I liked about Borderlands 2 is they listened to the people, and they improved on so many gameplay features. And with Borderlands 3, I kind of trust that they're going to do the same. I just have a really good feeling this is going to be a really, really good game.
Yeah, for me with it. Oh yeah, go on, Abvex. Sorry.
So that's a big question because there's a lot of parts to it. How close is to say? Story-wise and stuff, I'm leaning towards what Psychichazard mentioned before, how dark and gritty it should be. However, my other curiosity is the format and of the game, and what I mean by format is, if you think about it, this is the only loot shooter where you have to complete the story twice to fully level your character.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if they're going to, because if you look at any Steam achievements and others, there's a massive drop off after people beat the warrior after the main story. Not a lot of people get to 50, and even less to whatever the new level cap is, 72 or whatever. So I wonder if they have a lengthy enough story, or they speed up the leveling where on your first playthrough you hit max rank, and they have something for you to do after that. Now, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you look at what they did with Battleborn, I mean, that was an experiment, I think, in terms of how fast can we level. And if they kind of pitch it somewhere between the two, then it'll feel very different. But I think you're right. You'll see more people hanging around and completing more, I think.
And going back to what Dirt said, what a pain in the ass it can be to farm the side mission uniques. To me, my speculation always were, the reason they made you play the campaign over and over is because they don't really. This is a story company first and foremost. They're not an endgame company really for loot, as far as the loot shooter is. So they kind of make you want to redo the story, level up other characters. It's not so heavy about sort of the end progression. That usually comes in through season passes and updates way later. And I wonder if they're going to sort of change that around and put some. I'd be over the moon if OP was a thing at launch in BL3. It would be ridiculous. If we can redo here's another thing. Going back to parts system. I know I'm jumping everywhere, but to me, it was always kind of weird, just from a rarity perspective. If you see endgame builds, half the stuff are blue. There's there's few legendaries here and there, but a lot of the guns were still blue. And I wonder if they're going to have a fluid system where the blue unique could be upgraded to a purple version and then a legendary version. So every red text would have this rarity scale that they can move up to. So if they want us to farm more and do stuff more after hitting 50, that's the kind of stuff I would like to do, where I can go back to the side mission, maybe do them on a higher difficulty, and instead of a blue version, I get the purple version of that same weapon. And things like that would really keep people busy after that first month or two, because otherwise you're going to see similar complaints that the pre-sequel had, where's okay, now we're done. Where's the end game?
Mm-hmm.
That's just going to be. I hope they change. I hope they a little.
Yeah.
So I think maybe Ultimate Vault Hunter mode will be the equivalent of mode, and I think that's a lovely idea with the kind of different grades as rewards as you progress. That's nice. That's simple. If they haven't done it, you should write to them.
And yeah, I mean, the core of the game, the core of the mood, the core of the story and mechanics, I want a lot of that to stay the same. or similar, not the same. I want new experiences, new things to explore. But Endgame is definitely something that when Borderlands 1 came out with looter shooters, they didn't really exist, and shooters didn't really have, especially PvE shooters, did not have endgame. And Borderlands 1 didn't really, the endgame was farming gear. I mean, you had one raid and...
They broke it when they brought the endgame in.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know.
In Borderlands 2, they did a lot more to add to endgame with, putting raids in there. Then, of course, all the DLC and headhunters and DLCs came with raids and DigiPeak, and they kept building on the endgame. They did an excellent job with the endgame in Borderlands 2. The pre-sequel, not as much, because it was kind of a smaller scale game, smaller budget, and that really hurt the pre-sequel. So I think they've really got to up the endgame thing in a big way, especially because although there's been a lot of failure of looter shooters, like Destiny's done a lot for endgame, and a lot of these other games, like, that's a big focus. And
I can't comment. I don't play any other games other than Borderlands.
Yeah, I don't play a lot of other ones, but I pay attention to them a little bit. Yeah. And
something I want to add. Sorry, I'm changing the subject again.
Yeah.
Changing it back. When I say kind of I like it gritty, I don't want to imply that Gearbox aren't good at humor, because they really are.
Oh, they're excellent at humor.
The humor that was in 1 was just so dry, and that is Mikey, I think.
Yeah, Mikey did a lot of the writing for. I mean, he wasn't the only writer, but one's writing was just. It seemed like it was a lot of character focused. It wasn't really plot focused. It was just, at least to me, it seemed more character focused, character driven. And Mikey created a lot of the characters, as far as I know.
And it was mostly in voice logs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on 2, they went a bit more full on, which is fine. But yeah, I don't know where this is going. But yeah, I'm not saying don't make me laugh, Borderlands, because I know it will.
It'll also make us cry, though. They've nailed like the joke to cry ratio in Borderlands.
Yeah.
Especially like Tina's and the Claptastic Voyage and all that. Like, they can pull at your heartstrings.
Yeah, Tina's was just yeah, that was strong stuff.
It was unfair what they did to us with that, but it was also just so fucking brilliant. I mean, like, the things they dealt with in that, just yeah.
I didn't see any of that coming. I just didn't know that they could do that, and when they did, it was amazing.
I can't think of many other games that can, like, kind of pull that off. Yeah. That range, especially. So I guess on the similar things we have on the list is, how should the gun system change? And this is a divisive one, because there's definitely a Borderlands 1 did it best and Borderlands 2 did it best crowd.
I think it all comes down to the sort of main difference that people experienced. If people weren't really into the loot system and really into the part system, the main difference that people would experience would be how long a gun lasts, in terms of how long will it maintain its effectiveness. Because in compared to 2, there was a very different kind of lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering how they're going to kind of manage that one, or where they're going to pitch that. I suspect they're going to go with a relatively short lifespan, so that you keep hunting for the loot, you keep trying to get better stuff, rather than have something that you're carrying around for 5-10 levels.
Yeah, I don't particularly love it when I find a gun and I can't find anything better than it for like 20 levels. It kind of defeats the purpose of the game to me. So,
although
but in like UVHM, it got a little bit too tight that you had like 5 levels and that gun was trash.
I did get attached to guns though.
Yep.
Particularly in 1, I'd get very attached to like a certain masher or a particular sniper, stuff like that. So sometimes it's hard to let those guns go, but you have to, and do it anymore. But there was a thunder I had in Borderlands 1 that, and I'm sure I've mentioned this loads of times on the forum perhaps, but the audio for the sounded like a block of lead hitting a gravestone, and seriously, the most amazing sound. love that gun just because of the. I've never experienced that in another game, ever, and I don't think I ever will. So if they can do that,
Do you guys want to see something where, to your point, Psychichazard, where you have a underlevel gun, you want to bring it up if you throw some resource at it or something?
Basically, power it up, like even like with the iridium currency or something like that.
Yeah, something like that where you want to keep the gun with you as you're leveling because it's that good.
maybe.
Or would that, because I have two thoughts on it. Like, on one hand, that would kind of defeat the purpose of the game. At the same time, if it's a really rare drop, you might want to keep it.
Yeah, it's a question of how much that would add, and I think
There's a fine line there because like that would also be really useful if you just gotten unlucky that like really were. And so if you just kept something around,
yeah,
stay working, but could end up being like, well, I just have this one gun that I've had for the whole game.
yeah. I mean, there was an interview years ago with, I think it was, and he was saying that they didn't put weapons building into the game, into the Borderlands 1 because, okay, so you've got your parts, you've now got your perfect gun.
Mm-hmm.
You now stop looting, you stop bothering, because once you know you've got it, then there's no... So, I was very surprised to kind of read the rumours about weapons parts being lootable. I thought that's a bit... Maybe it just requires an incredible amount of resources, like you say, iridium or something like that, to kind of maintain a level.
Or maybe you can only change one part. So once the gun can only have a limit, like one charge, you might change the stock, but you cannot perfect the grip or anything else. That's it. You get one change.
Yeah,
They could limit it like that.
There's loads of ways they could do it. It's just a question of,
Right.
again, how far they go with that. Because I think there is that risk of people finding perfection early or even late game. I mean, if you've got your perfect weapon late game, you're not going to loot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people will always do that, but I think there's a risk that once you've done that, okay, you've got 4 characters to do it with at the start of the game, and I'm presuming there'll be other characters in DLC, so I don't know.
If they would do the guns that you can level up with you for resources, I think it should be limited to mission rewards. Because like a boss, you can go back and refarm the boss, but if you get something for a mission reward, again, let's go back to like the Sandhawk, which is obviously a popular gun in Borderlands 2 that is a mission reward, and all of a sudden you get it, and you have to reset your entire playthrough to get it again later in UVHM, which is a pain in the butt. So I can see it on guns like those, but restrict it to only certain guns can be leveled up.
I think it also depends on who this game is aimed at, because they've got a very broad range of players.
Yeah.
From the people who are just picking up with the complex skill trees and parts, etc., and to people who know far more than I ever will about the weapons parts that exist, and that's going to be hard. And it is a tiny minority of people, I think, who've gone that far with weapon parts.
Yeah, but those are the people that keep playing too, so it's tricky because like Borderlands 2 had an insane staying power. Because I would check like the Steam charts, and Borderlands stayed in the top page. Was that top 15 games or whatever for years, and no other PvE shooter did. Very few PvE games did. I think like Skyrim did because of the modding, really, and Borderlands didn't have that. It was an anomaly that Borderlands 2 had that staying power, that just for so long it would just stay and stay. Now part of that is they kept putting out DLC and kept people playing, but it also.
As an example of staying power, I realised that I hadn't filled up, I hadn't fully expanded Maya's ammo slots. So I was farming the warrior the other day, and I picked up a plasma caster and thought, oh, that's better. That's a nice one. I'll keep that one. That's insane.
Yeah.
I started off doing it at kind of easy level, just to get loads of iridium, and then thought, well, why am I doing this? I can miss out on a nice conference call, or I can miss out on something like that. So it's still playing for me, you know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I've still never played Krieg, so there's that on. So it's just
Oh, you gotta play
leveling all 6 character to OP8 is a massive task. It's no joke. It's just that's a lot of content.
yeah. Oh, that's a ton.
Krieg is a bit squishy at some point. When I was leveling him up, I found him a bit squishy and a bit tough to level. But once you get about halfway, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely have to get to a few skills with him and get down the trees far enough.
That first blood explosion.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So I say I'm gonna go to one more topic here, then we'll probably call it, and I'm gonna keep doing more of these in the future because I think these are fun. But what should BL3 learn from other similar games like Battleborn, Destiny, Division, other shooters?
No loot boxes.
Okay, I'll second that.
I think didn't
Nothing.
Randy just flat out say he doesn't like loot boxes?
I think he did.
Yeah, he was pretty strong on that one.
And also, I just want to say his statement at the beginning of PAX is like, "Hey, battle royales, those are fun. We're not doing that." I think that said a lot of like we're keeping our core.
Yeah, I think they know what works, and I think they know what is Borderlands, and I think they know what isn't Borderlands. And I think although there's stuff you can say that was in Battleborn, it doesn't need to make the translation. It doesn't need to be there.
Well, Borderlands have loot boxes, but it's in the best way possible. It's the slot machines. Okay, so if they're gonna do that, absolutely go right ahead.
Yeah.
Slot.
I'll accept it.
But so Abvex, you at one point put out a massive, awesome post about class mods after playing Division. I don't know if you want to touch that all with this, because like they've made drastic changes when you look at like
Right.
shields from Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 2 had a drastic change. Grenades, holy shit, they did a lot with grenades. The
Gun
guns
parts,
obviously changed.
yeah.
Gun parts.
Even the skill tree.
Relics, skill trees, relics to or artifacts to relics to Oz kits in the pre-sequel, and they've moved so much on all these things, but class mods really haven't changed.
Yeah, it's my post was mainly, it's the only grandfathered in stuff from the first game, and I wonder if they were thinking about that, or do they think, why fix it when it's not broken? Then I try to articulate some of the problems I see and limitations, because class mods are essentially artificial, like more levels, because it will give you +5s to or 4 or whatever to a bunch of skills. And those selection of skills you couldn't even choose, let alone. So I would much rather if they took class mod to a far more different direction than just being a power booster for certain skills. Especially when in BL2, like certain characters would only need +6 on a specific skill to kill a raid boss or do this or do that. It's like, which made all the other class mods kind of like, meh, it wasn't. So I wonder if they're looking at that, the way people play endgame stuff, and they're gonna react to it and do something different. Where I would much rather have where the class mod acts as what a game changer does to a skill tree. I hope eventually a class mod does that to the action skill itself. So it really changes the action skill rather than just putting plus points in other, because I don't find that too interesting, just boosting some other skills. Rather make me play different than do something else.
I'm sure they will have enough data through Shift to find out
Right.
how many different class mods people are using and why they're doing it and when they're doing
Yeah,
it. They'll have all the
yeah.
data. So they'll have a lot to build on from what they've learned from Borderlands 2 to make the kind of class mod you're talking about.
And going back to your question, what they should take from Division and Destiny, really nothing. I mean, other than fine tuning, maybe how crisp and sharp the shooting feels and all that stuff. I'm sure they will. Borderlands doesn't need to take ideas from them when they themselves are pioneer. It's like saying, "Hey, what can Homeworld take from other art? Space sims? Like, why? No, people should steal from Homeworld. It's the other way around." So,
Nice homework.
that's my take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So a few things in the trailer did show like upgrades to mechanics. So I'm sure you guys saw or probably heard the sliding mechanic is now going to be in it.
Which is from Bulletstorm, and maybe Fear was the first one.
Yeah, I mean a lot of shooters do. I mean your Call of Duties do that. Apex Legends does that. I mean I think Titanfall does it, and
It might bring more to melee.
it could be.
In Fear, in FEAR, that which I think I'm right in saying it's the first
So
one that did it.
another thing I noticed is a lot of guns have two scopes on them. They'll have a scope on top and a scope to the right or the left. Now, in a lot of these shooters, you can tilt, so you'd have like a scope on the top and iron sights on the right, so you can scope or you can tilt your gun to the right and use iron sights. So it looks like they're bringing that to this.
Or you can put a monocle on your gun.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe different crit modifiers depending on the scope. Who knows?
Yeah, so that could open. So it does look like they're modifying some of the mechanics to bring it in with kind of a more modern age.
Yeah, I was wondering whether that's just cosmetic, that it's just on the model, because there's lots of bits on a Borderlands gun that
Yeah.
don't move or do anything. So
So these are like clearly like two different scopes.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
why? But I also noticed, and this isn't mechanics, but there's a lot of guns that had two accessories, which I think is very interesting to kind of hit that number.
yeah.
But what else? There was
We'll learn more on.
Oh, like this.
one thing I really wanted from Battleborn was the different physics of characters. So in Borderlands 1 and 2 and the pre-sequel, like all the characters ran at the same speed, jumped the same height, had the same...
Yeah.
Krieg was the only one that had a different weight to him
Yeah.
for like grenade jumping, but all the other characters had the same base physical stats. Whereas like in Battleborn, when you played like Thorn, the Elvish Archer, you'd be flying all over the place really fast, but then you were Montana and you were just lumbering around with your big gun. But it made sense for the characters.
My guess would we'd see that through skill trees again.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head, I would guess that's.
I think for the most part,
maybe class mods.
since they have, well, since the way I look at it is Battleborn, I assume that you have different player play positions, middle, left, light, flank, and things like that. With BL2, the 4 characters are co-op. You're always kind of sticking together. So that might be a sticking point where it should be increase movement speed for one and not the other, and he's always the first one to the fight.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know if they're gonna do that. That might be a badass rank thing. Who knows if they bring that back? But
Sorry, Abvex, that just reminded me when we were doing the no slag playthrough on OP8 with Anderson. G. Anderson.
Right.
And he just
Right,
kept
right.
running ahead because he was 0 and he had the movement boost. And then he would just die right away. Cause like we're playing OP8 no slag 4-player. You can't rush in and like kill a camp by yourself. Then we
make
just
sure to
stopped
leave
reviving
this in
them.
the video.
Yeah. It was brutal.
They could do something like, one character has a really high base movement speed, but the sprint increase is lower.
Yeah.
Their sprinting speed is the same, so they'll move between encounters at roughly the same rate. But in combat, they're a lot faster.
And they had
this
that
other
in
character.
Battleborn. Their sprint speed and regular movement speed were two different stats. So there were characters that moved fast but didn't sprint particularly well.
Well, I wonder if they'll have other passives just by choosing a character where one of them would have naturally high swap speed and one of them has slight health regen all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or just passive gestures there, without even like at level 0 you have it.
Because like if you look at like Krieg and Zero, like Krieg should have more health than Zero naturally, and Zero should be faster than Krieg naturally. At least in my opinion, that just
Right.
makes sense to who the characters are.
And it's one of those things that you can actually see in co-op.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about silhouettes; it's about also you can then identify people by their rate of movement and how they're moving.
Yeah.
Which I think was important in Battleborn as well.
So, do we have any Destiny players in the group here?
Yeah. What
I
is
did
it?
not enjoy the game.
No,
Is it-
look, it has its high points. I think the raids are pretty great. I think I would have to give them credit on that. If Borderlands hypothetically, let's say, want to compete with that and give some aspirational content for after you hit 50, if they took Terramorphous and Digipeak and the arena and mushed them together into one thing and have 5 peaks at Endgame, each with different, one could be desert based, one could be tropical, whatever the case is, and then you go through different rounds, you move from one room to the other while you're farming bosses, and while you're getting, if you complete it, OP1, 2, 3, and maybe the 5th one has a raid boss, then that would unlock the next arena, so on and so forth. So if they did that, I think people will forget about Destiny.
Yeah.
It's just because that's the thing. The reason I bought Destiny wasn't because I don't really care about their story, although it's interesting. Is I was curious what the raid is because people kept saying, "Oh, you have to try the raid," and I'm like, "Okay, fine." That's it. The weapons are pretty static with like talents here and there. It's not as interesting as the parts system for Borderlands. And it does feel good shooting on that gun, and that's what I meant by the crispness and sharpness of the way gun shooting is. So if Borderlands just improve that and provide some aspirational stuff at the end for people to do, I think they're at a pretty good spot on launch. A very good spot
Yeah,
on
that's
launch.
kind of what we touched about earlier with Endgame. Like I think they definitely need to improve on Endgame to have that staying power because the gaming landscape is not what it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
No, definitely not.
Oh, the vehicles. Sorry,
Yeah.
another more random. Yeah, the vehicles seem much more diverse as well. It seems like they may be more customizable.
Yeah, I saw at least 5 or 6 different vehicles in the trailer.
And
You know,
also things like the wheels and the Bandit Technicals, they're different. There's some that have the hover wheels, some that have spike wheels, some that have plain wheels. I watched someone's breakdown.
I made a comment on the mega thread on Gearbox forum about the trailer reaction. Was does this make anybody feel like they should have a Twisted Metal PvP arena with the vehicles? So if they're gonna do PvP, you and at the same time keep it different, so they don't have to worry about balancing. Just make the vehicle part PvP. Don't put characters. Just give Rocket League meets Twisted Metal. Give us an arena and just go crazy with the vehicles.
I mean, it'd be like that Mad Max boss fight in Borderlands 1? That
Yeah,
vehicle
yeah.
boss fight?
Oh yeah,
It'd be pretty neat.
Mad Mel, right?
yeah. Yeah, and I was kind of expecting that from the Torg DLC.
Mm-hmm. Instead it was races.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting more combat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, vehicles haven't been great in the franchise, so let's hope they improve those. I mean, adding in a lot of that single wheel, like, monocycle thing, that looks sweet.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the vehicles. One of the vehicles I saw that had the blades that project from the sides.
Mm-hmm.
That's a direct lift from Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, it is.
So and maybe grenade launchers. I mean, again, it's the same engine, so there's obviously scope for them to put those kind of vehicles in, which they have, which is good. Unreal was much more focused on vehicles.
Yeah.
in certain maps. You know.
Yeah, if they're going to have vehicles, I'd like them to actually do something with them instead of just have them there to drive faster, move faster. That's really the only purpose they've served.
Wouldn't it be funny if they made one raid boss? You can only damage him through vehicle guns.
Yeah, or car chases.
A car raid, if they did cars right or vehicles right, a vehicle raid
Yeah.
would be sweet.
Yeah.
Just change it up. I mean, anything to change it up and add diversity to the game to me is huge. Just keep us playing, keep us interested. I mean, looks like we're gonna have a lot of enemy diversity.
Yeah.
One big thing on the trailer, I know I said we need to wrap this up, but at the end they said over 1 billion guns. Now I brought this up the other day with Damon. In previous trailers, they would say a gazillion or like a made-up word. They actually used a real word for a number this time.
And that's quite a lot. 1 billion is quite a lot.
1 billion is a shitload. Because
Well, aren't they?
No, it's more than that. It's more than a shitload.
yeah, but in Borderlands 1 and 2, I think my figures might be off here, so someone can fact check me on it. But I thought like when people like did the math of how many weapon variations you can have, it was like 160 million or something like that. Now they're talking about 1 billion.
Well, if there are 2 accessories and just accessories, maybe there's. What the hell is that?
Hey, Wings, if you're trying to say something we can't hear you, it's just static. Looks like something happened to your mic.
He's kidnapped.
Uh-oh.
Not
Oh,
again.
sorry, we
Oh,
lost
man.
Wings. He might just be reconnecting his mic. But
Yes, it's a shitload, and then some.
yeah. Alright, reconnecting. But I mean, if they go to 2 accessories and 2 scopes per gun, I mean, that alone would drastically increase the number exponentially. And then if all these add in more weapon types and make every brand make every weapon type, I can see them getting there.
Yeah.
Multiple body types, even from the same manufacturer, would be a big deal.
Yep. More multiple barrels.
They do hold like a world record of most usable guns in the game. Like the pre-sequel, like I just looked it up right now. It's like 17.75 million guns. That's the current. So if they bring it up to 1 billion,
I mean, no one else is even in the ballpark.
No.
Like, it's like a game will have like 500 guns, and Borderlands is like, we got multiple millions. And then another company's like, we got 1,000 guns. Borderlands can be like, we have 1 billion. Like, no one is even in the same like universe as Borderlands when it comes to like weapon variation.
Even if you consider only the unique guns and just count them and their parts,
Yeah.
if you put all those guns in one bucket and how memorable they are to use, and you can put every other loose shooter gun on the other bucket, the Borderlands bucket will still be heavier. Because to me, it's just I don't remember another Pimpernel running any other shooter. Like it's just nobody would have the balls to make a sniper like that.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. I can say this with the bitch and many other stuff. It's just they just don't. Like every game has this glass ceiling of how nutty something could be.
Yeah.
And that's when I go back to they shouldn't. Borderlands doesn't need to copy others. Others needs to copy Borderlands. It's just,
Like the running gun. They just way upped it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a
Yeah.
TDR gun that when you throw it, it runs around chasing people, shooting them, and then
Yeah,
blows up.
that's what
I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. That's insane.
temporary pet, how long the ammo runs, and he dies.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy what they come up with. I mean, even like the mechanics, like the TDR, like the chucking mechanic. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Well, look at the explosion. I mean,
Yeah. The sword explosion.
who doesn't love that? Yeah, who doesn't love that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's no other game could get away with that.
No. Yeah.
Nor should it.
So, I don't know. I think on that note, is your mic fixed, Wingsday? Can't really hear him still. All right.
It's a shame.
Sorry about that, Wings. Next time, we'll get more in there with you. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up now because I've got to go get things done, and sure everyone else does too. But I want to do more of these because it's fun, and we'll get different people in and kind of switch up the groups and keep talking about new topics because there's gonna be a shitload to talk about in the next couple months and going forward.
Yeah.
So
I'm
kind of a
so
slow
excited.
podcast. I know it's
Thank you,
an
Derch,
awesome
for
time.
hosting this.
Yep.
Thanks for having
Thanks.
me. Yep.
And
Thanks everybody.
yep. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching or listening. Thanks Abvex, Zsoki, Wingsday, and Psychic for being here. And yeah, everyone watching, let me know what you think of these. And did you guys already all say bye?
Bye.
So, bye.
Bye everybody.
All right. See you all later. Bye.